Happy Halloween. Welcome back to another episode of Wheeler Takes. You're listening to WIDR Kalamazoo. WIDR Kalamazoo. Welcome back to episode 3 of Wheeler Takes, Halloween edition. And first off, before we start the show, I would like to pay my respects to Adam Johnson, an ice hockey player who passed away at such a young age, at the age of 29. And man, you know, my thoughts, my prayers, and my condolences are with Adam Johnson's family. And you know, hockey is a very physical and aggressive sport, and if you ask me, it's probably the top of the top in terms of aggression and sport that you have to have the physicality for it to play. And I just wanted to start the show off just by extending my condolences to Adam Johnson and his family. The hockey world lost a great one, so Godspeed and God bless your family as you make your trip into heaven. As we begin the show, we're going to recap the previous week with Western sports. It was Halloween weekend here in Kalamazoo as the volleyball team returned to University Arena October 27th through the 28th. On Friday was Breast Cancer Awareness Night, and the Broncos exchanged the Buffalo Bills in a heated back-and-forth contest. Buffalo took the first set, but the Broncos took sets 2, 3, and 4 to secure the win. Kiana Salzman had 17 kills with Maggie King, who had 21 kills. This dynamic duo appears to be a force to be reckoned with, as WMU simply overmatches a lot of their competitors in terms of size. Logan Case tallied up with 55 assists. It almost just seemed if whoever Case sets up for the pass, Salesman or King may be the one to finish it off with an overpowering spike. In Game 2 of the weekend, the Akron Zips came to town to play the Broncos on Alumni Volleyweeen Day. This time, the trio of Kiana Salesman, Maggie King, and Anna Calgano combined for 54 kills together, as it was Anna who asserted her name as the more dominant player of the night. Logan adding 53 assists once again to beat the Zips 3-1. If you ask me, I don't know how, we're literally not ranked. You know, if you ask me, I think we should be ranked in the nation. We're on a 13-game winning streak, and we're undefeated in the conference, and we have an overall record of 23-2. What I don't get is, what it takes in order for us to be ranked, but I'm not shocked because whoever the volleyball experts are, they clearly need to be out of a job because they don't know anything about volleyball. A team that is undefeated in their conference, 23-2 on the season, and pretty much you might as well hand the MAC championship over to them. How they're not ranked is beyond me, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to be proving them all wrong very soon. So good job there, ladies. You're listening to 89.1 WIDR FM, and I am your host, Chris Wheeler, and, today you may as well call me Darth Wheeler, based off of my Darth Vader costume today for Halloween edition of Wheeler Takes. Moving on to WMU football, the Broncos traveled to Ypsilanti to take on in-state MAC rival, the Eastern Michigan Eagles, in Week 9 of the year. This game was all about the battle for the Michigan MAC trophy between us, Eastern Michigan, and that team up north in Mount Pleasant. WMU came into this game with a 2-6 record versus a 4-4 record, as the Eagles are in pursuit of securing a bowl game. The Broncos started the game off immediately taking a 14-0 lead over the Eagles. Hayden Wolf threw a nearly 50-yard touchdown pass to tight end Blake Bosma. Meanwhile, the best running back in the nation in college football, Jalen Buckley, decided to rush for over 138 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. I am a very big fan of this young man's game. I'm very grateful he decided to commit here, and he's our star player in the wake of us just losing our star running back Sean Tyler to our old coach, PJ Flex, Minnesota Gophers, this past offseason. Buckley is such a special player and a unique piece to this Broncos offense, which ranks us as a high-graded offense in terms of the MAC. And you can't forget, outside of what the offense was able to accomplish in that game against Eastern Michigan this past weekend, but Coach Lou Espinato and that defense are always in the kitchen. You know, Kanai Lovely, you got Aaron Walford. You got the safety we got from Michigan State. I think his last name's Halleck. Yeah, he got Halleck. So we got a lot of fine pieces in the backfield on the D line with Pebbles and Mason Nelson leading the way for that defensive line. So that defense was definitely in the kitchen. It was Aaron Walford collected 2 interceptions in that game. Despite a late game rally from Eastern Michigan, the Broncos dominantly won in convincing fashion, 45-21, to move up to 3-6 on the season, keeping their bowl chances alive. Hayden Wolf, I gotta be honest with y'all. I love Tracy Bourguet's game a lot. I think he is very exceptional at getting out the pocket. But let's look at Hayden Wolf. This kid is an FCS transfer. Based off my observations, I think Wolf is the Coach Taylor's best decision in starting quarterback. And Coach Lance Taylor, if you can hear me out there, I really hope we get to roll with Hayden Wolf. This guy is standing at 6'6", 215 pounds. He can throw 40, 50 yards down the field. He can rush out of the pocket. One of my friends I work with in the Western Herald told me that the reason he didn't get the opportunity to start off as quarterback when he first transferred here is because of the NCAA's transfer rules, and WMU wanted to have Hayden Wolf feel more comfortable, knowing the playbook. Because coming from another school, you obviously got to get used to your surroundings. But ever since Hayden Wolf has had the opportunity to play in every single game he got the chance to play, he hasn't looked below if you ask me, he has to be one of the top quarterbacks in the MAC this year. And I'm very grateful and thankful that we were able to pick up a quarterback like him, because we haven't had a quarterback like this at Western Michigan since the days of Caleb Ellaby, who took at least under Ellaby, we had at least 7 wins every season under him. Plus, we won the Quick Lane Bowl game in 2021 at Ford Field, which I was there for. And I hope we decide to run with Wolf for the rest of the season, because he could scramble for yards if we need to, and he could throw very efficiently. The Broncos now have a bye week coming up as they look to play in the biggest game of the year. I mean, this is a top 20 college football rivalry of all time. And the Broncos already beat Eastern Michigan to secure 66% of the MAC trophy, which is contested between 3 teams. Now, as the bye week approaches, we need to practice very hard and complete all the necessary requirements and adjustments to complete the Michigan MAC trophy, bring it back to Kalamazoo, and most importantly, keep the victory cannon here in the zoo. Because I don't like this team from up north in Mount Pleasant. There's a lot of things I can really say. I mean, I may not like them, but, Coach Jim McElwain, he really does love Sharks. And I'm really informing the team up north. You know what? Y'all coming here next week to play us. Y'all might as well just stay in Mount Pleasant. Honestly, for your own good, stay in Mount Pleasant. Don't even come back here, man, because I know you guys are in search of trying to get a bowl game yourself. And I will be watching your game Tuesday night against Northern Illinois on ESPN+. And I will be watching to make sure I want to see, because I always root for the collapse and the downfall of all of your favorite teams. Whether it's your favorite team, whether it's your favorite player, I'm always rooting for the downfall. Whether you got a team from up north wearing terrible brown and gold colors, whether you got a soft coach, cupcake coach over at Ohio State, whether you have a sign-stealing, door-dashing quarterback and coach over at the U of M, it quite frankly doesn't matter to me, because it's all about Broncos country. Let's ride. And my hatred for this team up north in Mount Pleasant extends deep. It extends deep in my blood, and you may even refer to me as the Black Woody Hayes. I've been called the Woody Hayes of WMU because of how much I resent that team up north in Mount Pleasant. And I cannot wait to see those maroon. Like I said, no, I can't wait. I don't got to wait. Those maroon and gold chumps need to stay up there, up north in the middle of nowhere. The cornfields, if you will. But you're listening to 89.1 WIDR FM here on Wheeler Takes Halloween edition. Moving on to the MLB Playoffs. The MLB World Series has finally began as the Texas Rangers took on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Both teams split games 1 and 2 to take a 2 to. They split both games 1 and 2, and both look to try to take a 2-1 series advantage tomorrow night at 8:03 p.m. only on Fox and ESPN2. Moving forward to the NBA. The NBA season. NBA is back on the court. We kicked off the season with a Western Conference Finals matchup from this year between the defending champions, the Denver Nuggets, taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. King James scored 21 points and snagged 8 rebounds, and Anthony Davis scored 17 points in 34 minutes. But it wasn't enough to stop the Joker, of course. The Joker had a 29-point triple-double, and KCP and Jamal Murray added to the tally with 20 points each. However, it didn't feel good to see the Lakers enact. It did feel good to see the Lakers enact some revenge on the Phoenix Suns, because that game against the Denver Nuggets was a wake-up call, and they were going to use that frustration from the Denver Nuggets loss to take on the Suns, because especially for Anthony Davis, like my good pal Stephen A. says, this dude is a half-off, wing basket. It's 50-50. You never know what you're going to get with Anthony Davis. I mean, I get scared when he dunks the ball or when he gets on the court, because I think he could just get hurt just by staring at somebody, or if he goes for a rebound, somebody grabs it, he hurts his arm. He's a cupcake. I love Anthony Davis and all, but he's built fragile. I don't know what doctor he's seeing, or if you're Anthony Davis doctor out there, you need to get this boy some help, because they need Anthony Davis. The Lakers need Anthony Davis. They need him on the court so they can get back to what they are, the greatest franchise of all time. Obviously, though, I'm a diehard Pistons fan, and my Darth Vader outfit is falling apart just like Anthony Davis falls apart on the court. But moving into that contest against the Phoenix Suns, it was LeBron's first matchup in 5 years against a very questionable Hall of Famer, Kevin Cupcake Durant. Anthony Davis actually showed up. He showed up with 30 points and 39 points and 11 boards from the Cupcake Durant wasn't enough as the Suns fell to the Lakers 100-95. Yeah, I call Kevin Durant a cupcake, and I've had friends ask me, like, bro, what is your vile hatred for Kevin Durant? What's up with that? It's not that I have hatred for him. It's just I am, what the term they use today, woke. In the terms of the sports world, I am woke. I'm woke at the fact that I really see what was really going on. It was really Steph Curry and Klay Thompson's team, as you can see. Because look what happened in more recent years, last year in 2022. They won an NBA championship. Just like they won one in 2015. So really, it was always the Dubs. It was always Steph, Klay, Draymond, and the rest of that cast. And open shot, faded the universe on the line, Andre Iguodala. It was always them, and then they brung along the cupcake and put a little frosting on them, put a little Golden State colors on them, and just gave him a plate. They gave him his ring. So really, he didn't really earn those NBA championships. They put it on a plate for him. The GM Bob Myers and the head coach Steve Kerr spoon-fed that boy. And his brother Terrence Durant I was so rent-free in Terrence Durant's head at the comment I made on Instagram on House of Highlights. I was so in Terrence Durant's head that he was like, this is the stupidest thing that anybody has ever said. When I said Kevin Durant's eligibility in the Hall of Fame is very questionable. But the good thing is the Detroit Pistons still own the Chicago Bulls, as Zach LaVine's 51 points weren't enough for the bad boys. Bad boys. As Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren both combined for 48 points together in their 118-102 beatdown of the Chicago Bulls. Bear down and bull down. Well, you're listening to 89.1 WIDR FM here on Wheeler Takes Episode 3. Moving on to news at other colleges. Well, this one is still taking all the headlines because I just want them to actually be done with this so we can move on. But the ongoing investigation continues for the University of Michigan football team. The NCAA has said about to reveal some video evidence later this week as the Michigan football staff and Coach Jim Harbaugh is accused of sign stealing. So it must not B. Great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's not great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's not great to be a Michigan Wolverine. You guys in the headlines back again. But hey, at least you're not, pulling some Michigan State stuff over there. Because when I say Michigan State is always in the headlines, Michigan State is always in the news for all the wrong reasons, too. But to be fair, they're not really as significant as U of M because Michigan State plays in the MAC. Speaking of Michigan State University, who plays in the Mid-American Conference, they fell 27-12 to the Minnesota Gophers. Well, they say go green, go white, can't read, can't write. I guess they obviously trying to write a different script even though they can't read, can't write. They're trying to write a different script because obviously football season is going very, very poorly for them. So they're trying to write down basketball stats and who's the best college basketball player in the nation and them being ranked 4th in the AP poll. Y'all can be ranked 4th in the AP poll, Michigan State. But, March is the only time people somewhat pay attention to you because Tom Izzo, he's a good coach. I'm glad we got his assistant coach, Dwayne Stevens, here at Western Michigan, and I'm hyped to see Western Michigan basketball return back. But I'm glad we got Coach Stevens. But as for Tom Izzo and those Sparties, listen, y'all are real relevant in March, but, y'all not going to do anything else other side of the Final Four. You're not winning no national championship. Tom Izzo, Tom fraud, so how about that? But even though y'all fell very devastating to the Minnesota Gophers, row the boat, well, there's always basketball season for you poverty school. And I guess y'all ranked 7th in the country in hockey, above America's team, the Western Michigan Bronco hockey team. But that isn't going to last very long because Michigan State will collapse and Western will go up. And Michigan State will continue to prove their case why they're on the verge of being kicked out of the Big Ten. Well, they already are kicked out the Big Ten, but moving on, you're listening to 89.1 WIDR FM here on Wheeler Takes. NFL, week 8 of the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings have been roaring as they defeat the 49ers and Packers in back-to-back weeks. They smoked the Packers 24-10 to move up in the NFC North Division. Unfortunately, Kirk Cousins went down with a potential torn ACL injury, so we hope for speedy recovery for their quarterback. And you know what's funny? Last Monday, when the Vikings and the 49ers played, I had a meme ready because it was actually going to be a tie game. It was going to be a tie game, a potential tie game. 49ers were down a touchdown or so, but I was very anxious. To see if the Vikings were going to blow this game because, it is Kirk Cousins in prime time. Kirk Cousins in prime time, you never know what you get with him. He's like 50-50. He's like, Kirk Cousins in prime time is like Anthony Davis in the NBA. You never know what you could get with him. Is Kirk going to be in the kitchen cooking? Or is he going to be rigging up the bathroom? Because I'm trying to find an opposite pole or whatever the spectrum may be. Anthony Davis, Kirk Cousins, I don't see the difference. And as you can see, Kirk Cousins is out with an injury. But if the Vikings would have lost that game back in week 8 to the 49ers, I already had a meme prepared with 3 Spider-Mans pointing at each other. It was going to be the Packers, the Vikings, and the Bears pointing at each other. Who's going to finish? Who's going to win last place in the NFC North? Because I thought that's what it was for a while. Because I'm like, obviously the one pride Detroit Lions are light years away of the rest of their division. So the Lions obviously are going to secure that division. They're going to win that division. I think the Lions probably going to win maybe 11 games, 12 games at best, while the rest of that division is trying to struggle to make sure who's going to get in the playoffs with maybe 8 wins. But moving on, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, spanked the Los Angeles Rams 43-20 on Sunday Football. Dak Prescott threw for 300 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and still managed to throw an interception. If this is a ploy to try to say, hey, Wheeler, we're trying to get you to become a Cowboys fan again, It's not going to work because I got nothing personal against Dak Prescott's professional life, but him as a quarterback for America's team, it isn't going the right way. And this is what really pisses me off about the Dallas Cowboys, because now it's said that there's a rumor saying before the trade deadline comes up here shortly, now it's said that the Cowboys are trying to acquire Derrick Henry. And that is exactly why I won't support America's team anymore, the Dallas Cowboys, because they've been doing the same thing for 27 years. No, you don't need to add a superstar player like Derrick Henry. I love Derrick Henry. He's a moneymaker. He is what a franchise wants to build a running back around. He is the most physique and agile quarterback in all of the NFL. I think he arguably number one up there with Christian McCaffrey, of course. But they don't need a running back. Tony Pollard is still the answer. Y'all just moved on from Zeke, and y'all were just transitioning into Tony Pollard, and he looks fantastic for y'all. And then y'all drafted Deuce Vaughn, and he's very swifty. He is the complete similar. His game is so similar to Jahmyr Gibbs over at the Detroit Lions. And this is what I mean, like, I'm so done with him, because you got the fans rushing the stadium as soon as the doors open just to play the New York Jets. So I'm already mad. Cowboys fans still won't let go of the 90s. They still acting like they were years and years ago. I mean, I get it. Jimmy Johnson was a good coach and all. But y'all Cowboy fans rushing the field like that on against the New York Jets back in week 2. That's when I realized this gonna be the same year, and the Cowboys ain't going nowhere. Cause them fans, y'all never gonna change. Y'all gonna still be the same. Y'all not gonna let go of the 90s, and y'all not gonna. The fact that y'all rushing that stadium after Tony Romo blew that fumble in the Seahawks wild card, threw an interception against the Giants in the 2007 season when y'all had a first round bye and when y'all worked 13-3, or how about when Dez Bryant supposedly caught the ball and after y'all missed the playoffs for 5 straight years after that? Or how about when you threw a pick to the Vikings in the playoffs back in 2009? Or what about wasting Jason Witten, Dez Bryant, Terrell Owens, DeMarcus Murray, and Ezekiel Elliott? Wasting all this potential, which CeeDee Lamb looked pretty good too. He had 158 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in Sunday football against the Rams. But Jerry Jones wasting this talent again for the Cowboys just because he don't want to get the right pieces. He's doing a halfway job. Jerry Jones has to step down as owner. Maybe let Steve. Spooky take number 3. Scottie Pippen is not a top 200 player of all time in NBA history. The thing about me saying Scottie Pippen is not a top 200 player of all time, I don't hate him professionally as a person. I just discourage Scottie Pippen as a player. He wasn't nothing without Michael Jordan. He got it backwards, calling Michael Jordan terrible. Well, Scottie Pippen, I always question him and Kevin Durant's Hall of Fame eligibility, because what is Scottie Pippen without Michael Jordan? What is Kevin Durant without Steph and Clay and Draymond and Iguodala and the rest of that Warriors team? Who are these guys without these players? Because if you ask me, Kevin Durant and Scottie Pippen fit in the same category because they went to other teams and they were riding the bus. They were passengers. They weren't driving that bus. They never will. Even in OKC, that was even proven. Russell Westbrook was the bus driver. Russell Westbrook was the bus driver, and Kevin Durant was riding along because Westbrook he had way more efficient seasons. I'm gonna give KD his scoring titles, but Westbrook was leading the league in assists and scoring and rebounds for all point guards, all in consecutive seasons. So you ask me, Russell Westbrook is the better player in OKC than it was for Kevin Durant. As for spooky take number 4, the Michigan Wolverines are the Dallas Cowboys of college football. They are the best example of the last 20 plus years, what can go wrong, will go wrong. And I say that because it's been, 26 years for Michigan and Dallas? So I don't understand you Michigan fans that try to gloat on Cowboys fans, try to get in NFL discussions. No, stay over Ann Arbor, because it's not great to be a Wolverine. Y'all been choke artists. Y'all been fraudulent. just like Ohio State. And I understand why they always brag about how they're the leaders and the best and the valiant heroes. I'm going to leave them alone because J.J. McCarthy and Dak Prescott, I tell you, I don't see the difference. Hey, he might be Tony Romo for all I know, a decent, mediocre quarterback at best. And we're breaking all this down on 89.1 WIDR FM, the Halloween edition, as we move into the final spooky take here on Wheeler Takes, which is Michigan State football should consider moving to the MAC conference next season. Listen, Michigan State has no business playing in the Big Ten anymore. I mean, they haven't, like I said before, they haven't been relevant in 60 years, and they always bring up, well, 2015 college football playoff, Kenneth Walker, all these other things they did in the 2010s. It's cool and all y'all won the Big Ten, but you look at what you're doing now in the last recent years, listen, y'all need some deliverance for y'all football program, and Tuck is not coming to save you. Tuck is not coming. You don't have anybody to rely on as a superstar player. Nobody's getting drafted for Michigan State next year. So really, your only best chances are trying to win the Mid-America Conference, which you won't because you barely beat Central Michigan. And I guarantee if we played you again, if Western played you again, we smoking y'all. Y'all better get used to Harper's, Tom Izzo, and basketball because that's all you ever will be relevant for, you bums. But thanks for watching another episode of Wheeler Takes. Episode 4 of Wheeler Takes next week will be all about the victory cannon and what it means to play the team up north in Mount Pleasant because it'll be rivalry day here on Wheeler Takes on 89.1 WIDR FM. If you're tuning in now, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching another episode of Wheeler Takes. Darth Wheeler out.